It's confirmed. Matthijs de Ligt is a Manchester United player. How good is he and how does he fit into the Manchester United setup? Without any further ado, let's analyze. Okay, so what is Matthijs de Ligt good at? Now, also I included his picture from his time at Ajax because I certainly hope that this is the version we're going to be getting here at Manchester United. So the main strength that Matthijs de Ligt has is, of course, his ball-playing ability. He's one of the best ball-playing defenders in the world currently. And here what I have is a comparison with 5 other centre-backs that are relevant to Manchester United: Johnny Evans, Brantwaite, Leny Yoro, Lisandro Martinez, as well as Rafael Varane. The percentages here show passing success rates. And then here on the right is literally the amount of total distances, actually total distance covered by passes, as well as total distance covered by progressive passes. Because the passing accuracy rate of a defender is usually a red flag, because it is intertwined with risk. Sometimes when I see 93 or 94%, which is literally at the very top of passing success rates for a defender or a defensive midfielder, usually it's a red flag because it tells me maybe this player is playing it safe. This is why I always look. The first thing I look at is passing success rate, and then immediately after, the second thing I'll look at is, of course, the nature of those passes. I want a player that progresses the ball, okay? Because it's either you have a high passing success rate with low risk, or you take a lot of risks and you have a lower passing success rate. But when a player can actually marry both of these elements, have a high passing success rate, like Matthijs de Ligt here, as well as top the charts when it comes to total distance covered, as well as progressive distance covered, now this tells me this is a gem of a ball-playing defender. And Matthijs de Ligt definitely falls in that bracket. Now, as you can see at the bottom, we have players like Brantwaite, Evans, and Varane. These are probably more conservative. And then you have the likes of Martinez, Yoro, and de Ligt, who are a little bit more progressive, more risk-takers with their passing. And we definitely need this. In an Erik Ten Hag system, you need that verticality, that penetration. And de Ligt provides this. Martinez as well. This is why Pep Guardiola praised him for causing them all of those problems in the FA Cup final. So it's very important to have these kind of players in a possession-based system, because otherwise the possession-based system just turns into a stale system. You need that penetration, that verticality, and de Ligt definitely provides that. So now let's analyze some footage. So this was in the game against Dortmund this season, and this is another example of de Ligt's verticality. So as you can see here, the Dortmund players, they are really close together. They are forming kind of a shield that prevents him from passing the ball forward. Many defenders would not actually dare make this pass, but de Ligt is no ordinary defender, and he makes this pass and succeeds with it. And in fact, in the same game, he does it again. Same thing here, same exact scenario. In this pocket of space, usually Musiala or Sané would come to receive the ball from de Ligt, and de Ligt is just able to execute these passes and always make sure that Bayern Munich has the initiative. It's very important to get the ball to those advanced, dangerous players. Otherwise, you are not going to be able to create chances and score goals. Now, how about his defending? So here again in the sequence, pressing high in the build-up, Dortmund go with the long pass into this area, and then de Ligt is there to actually just take the ball away from the Dortmund player. Now, why is it important? It's important to have these kind of proactive defenders, and de Ligt is definitely proactive. He doesn't wait until the forwards get the ball, turn and run at him, but rather he marks them tightly, and then he waits, anticipates when they're going to receive the ball, and then he just emerges and just outmuscles them and just wins the ball and wins it cleanly. And here in this case, wins it and gives it to Joshua Kimmich so that Bayern Munich can keep the momentum. This is a game against Hoffenheim. Same thing again. The ball comes into this area, and then again, before the midfielder can, the opposition player can control the ball, de Ligt is there to win it, okay? So now what we have is very good passer, very good progressive passer, excellent ball-playing defender, and he's a very proactive defender. He doesn't wait for a striker to get the ball, turn and run at him, but rather he anticipates the situations well. He can read the game pretty well, mark tightly, and then win the ball cleanly. But all of this indicates, of course, that he's a very good sign-in for Manchester United. But there are a few things I'm worried about, and that's what I'm going to show you in this next segment. So this was again in that same game against Dortmund. And at this point, Bayern were losing 1-0. And so they had to find a sort of solution. And here de Ligt, who was playing as the right-sided centre-back in a back four. Not in a back three where you might think, okay, one of the centre-backs could have license to go forward. No, in a back four. And look what he does. He identifies this space right here, and he makes a run into that space as the right-sided centre-back. And I was like, what is he doing? When I was watching this, I was like, what is happening? And what happens is he finds himself out of position, and then Konrad Laimer over here loses the ball. But of course, De Ligt is starting from way back, from a disadvantageous position. And then what happens now is Karim Adeyemi, one of the speed merchants in world football right now, a speed monster, one of the fastest players ever. Now, De Ligt has to, of course, match him, man for man, and he can't do that. Look how fast he is. And here, I have to say something, though, about De Ligt, is that he's trying his best. And again, this shows, like, not many people can go toe-to-toe with Adeyemi. He's extremely fast. So here again, with De Ligt, it shows his pace. So the pace is not the problem. The problem is that decision-making. Why did he have to make that risky run in that position and leave his team exposed? Now, thankfully for him, it didn't go in, but that was pretty close. Now, here's another issue with De Ligt, is that I think that his concentration levels are not actually very high. Also here, I just want to point your attention towards this. Just read this book, How to Watch Soccer by Ruud Gullit. First of all, the fact that he called it soccer is kind of a red flag. Not a very good book. I love him as a player. Not a very good book. It's very basic. But I did love one part about it. He played for Sampdoria and AC Milan in Italy during the Catenaccio golden age. And he fell in love with the art of defending. It's a lifestyle. It's a way of life in Italy. It's a form of cultural expression for the Italians. And I loved how he described defenders. According to Ruud Gullit, defenders have to be anxious all the time. Their mind should be a what-if mind. That means they'll have to always scan the areas around him and always think, what if? What if the opposition passes the ball into this area? What if my teammate loses the ball? What if my teammate makes a run and leaves us exposed on the right? What do I do? Always thinking, what if, what if, what if? Basically, defenders are like a parent watching a toddler playing around a dangerous area. You're always expecting the worst, always keeping an eye, and you are anxious. And I don't think that De Ligt has it, because it's all good and dandy to have defenders who can play the ball. Great first touch, great vision, great passing ability, but you still need to have that defender's mindset. Defending at all costs. And here, this is a great example. So here we have a build-up phase. So obviously De Ligt goes towards the right back. Now here, De Ligt, what he needs to do in this situation is quickly move into this area. In fact, under Erik Ten Hag, you see it a lot. For example, with Varane and Aaron Wan-Bissaka, they do that a lot. Pass it to Aaron Wan-Bissaka, holds the ball. Varane would come here, Aaron Wan-Bissaka would find him, or at the very least, it would prevent the opposition from ganging up on Aaron Wan-Bissaka and us losing the ball. So again, here, De Ligt, not very good movement. But what happens next is, like, it really angered me when I saw it. So what happens is that he keeps, like, raising his hands and protesting with the referee that he needs to give a foul. But his positioning is off, and he doesn't think about that. In fact, where he should be is actually, he should drop deeper. All right, let me actually get back a little bit. Okay, he should drop deeper to make sure that this striker is actually taken by two center backs, not just one, Eric Dyer in this case, and then the right back should drop into this position. Both of them are guilty, but here we care about Matthijs de Ligt. No, he doesn't do that. So then what happens is that now we are in a 1v1 position, and because of de Ligt's lack of positioning sense, Dyer is pulled into this area, which means this area, which should be occupied by the left-sided center back, is free. And of course, Maximilian Baer, now the keen-eyed among you will remember this clip from my Maximilian Baer analysis video a while ago. He's going to exploit this space. Beautiful goal. Both of those players, both of the center backs, De Ligt and Eric Dyer, are not where they are supposed to be. And then that was a goal for Hoffenheim, who beat Bayern 4-2 in this game. The next clip, though, is laughable. So laughable. I could not believe it when it happened. Look at what happens here. So obviously De Ligt here, look at him. So what he's doing here is he's putting his arms behind his back because, of course, he wants to prevent conceding a penalty if the opposition shoots. But here is the problem. I have no problem with that. The problem is here, though. Look at his positioning. So, Matthijs, nobody's going to shoot at you there. You are off. Look where he is. So this is where he's positioned, and this is the line of sight, or the line of shot that the Karamarich, the Croatian striker, has. De Ligt, you are not in the right position. He's at least 3 or 4 yards off of where he's supposed to be. He's supposed to be here. If he wants to do this kind of move where he puts his arms behind his back so he doesn't concede a handball and a penalty, his positioning is off. This reminds me of, when I used to play football in the streets in Morocco. And you'd have the opposition team have an 8-year-old in goal. Well, in goal, 2 school bags, right? The space between 2 school bags. And that kid would be standing, 10 yards away from he's supposed to be. And you'd be like, the goal is there, dumbass. It's not here, right? This is De Ligt. This is De Ligt. I could not believe this. This is such a horrendous positioning from De Ligt. And of course, Hoffenheim were able to score. All right, I get it. Some of you may be really confused right now. Hey, Scarlet Report, are you for or against this transfer? Well, guys, I am for it, okay? I highly rate Matthijs de Ligt. I think that my appreciation for Erik Ten Hag's Ajax team is pretty well documented, and de Ligt was at the heart of that team, actually. And he reminded me a lot of Rio Ferdinand with his ball progression, and John Terry with how commanding he was and his leadership at the back. Plus, he's still relatively young. He probably still has a decade or more if he takes care of his body, playing at the top level. If players like Thiago Silva or Pepe can do it, De Ligt can do it as well. And the fact that teams like Juventus and Bayern and then now Manchester United are willing to pay huge sums of money to bring him in means that in the world of football right now, among people who understand the game, there is still that potential that De Ligt has just lurking in the back of their mind. And every club is really hoping to unlock that. And if anyone can unlock it, it probably is Erik Ten Hag. So I think we should be positive about this transfer. But it's, of course, my job, to analyze these players. And part of it is, of course, to show you what could possibly go wrong. But I didn't show you that to tell you, guys, this is going to flop. This is not going to work out for Manchester United. No, I'm just telling you that it's the same thing I said in the Lenny Yoro video. At the end of it, I said that we have to remember that these are very good players, but things could go wrong. Remember what happened with Onana in the beginning of last season, which means that if we have a shaky start to the season, the same mistakes that I showed you happened with De Ligt at Bayern, which was also a shaky side, could happen at Manchester United. Does it mean that he's a bad player? That he's a flop? No. It just means that we have to show patience and we have to understand that these things could potentially happen. That sequence I showed you with Karim Adeyemi at Dortmund, it could be Mbemu for Brentford. He's equally fast. And so we have to be aware that it takes time for these players to adapt. I'm sure that now De Ligt and Mazraoui, they don't even know where the bathrooms are in our headquarters. That's just how new they are. So to expect them to just come into the side and just hit the ground running is asking too much of these players. We have to be patient. Now, of course, they could prove me wrong. Maybe against Fulham, we play a backline of Mazraoui, Lisandro Martinez, De Ligt and Dalot, and then things just look amazing. We just beat Fulham 5-0, and, the rest is history, as they say. I would love that to happen as a Manchester United fan, but there's also the possibility that the opposite happens. And when it happens, I know where I'm going to stand. You can expect that positivity from Mr. Scarlet Report. I am going to be positive about it because I am mature enough to understand that these things happen. But please, guys, we have to show patience. If things go wrong, it's not because these players are bad. It's just because the system is not working. It's just because they haven't adapted yet. And we have to show patience and hope for the best. Anyway, guys, I hope that you've enjoyed this video. The Nosair Mazraoui video is going to drop also in 12 to 24 hours. So please make sure you subscribe and please activate that notification bell button so that you don't miss it once I drop it. Until next time, cheers.